Hey folks, Jessica here. So today we're talking about a game I have not really done any coverage on, and that is Honkai Impact 3rd, or Honkai 3rd Impact if you prefer Honkai, basically. This is the game that MiHoYo did previous to Genshin Impact, which a lot more people are familiar with. And I quite enjoy this game. I was playing it for a while, and then I took a long break until recently, and I came back because this new banner, Herrscher Flame Scion's out, which I want to roll on. And I did roll on it. I'm filming this slightly out of order. If this video goes well, maybe I'll post my roll video on it as well. But yeah, I quite enjoy this game. Consider this the first in likely a series of videos where I talk about some other gacha games besides Blue and Genshin, and just give you an overview of like what's cool about them, what you might like about them, what you might not like about them, and a general like impression of what the game's like in case you do want to check them out, because some of these games are definitely gonna be worth checking out if you're looking for another game to play. So if I had to describe Honkai in really, really reductive terms, it's essentially an anime beat 'em up kind of game where you have a team of characters that you can swap between that have different abilities, and it's super anime. It is extremely anime. Uh, in a lot of ways, if you're familiar with Genshin Impact, the combat is similar to Genshin but far deeper. So I think like a characterization I might give of it is if Genshin Impact is Smash Brothers in complexity, Honkai Third Impact is Street Fighter in complexity. Uh, it is a much more execution heavy game. There's much deeper combat mechanics and complexity to the mechanics. If you play Genshin and you really like its combat and you're like, oh man, it's a little bit basic though, and there's not a lot of things that really push you to need the best stuff or to really perform at a high level, Honkai might be the game for you because Honkai is one, a game that has extremely deep customization and tuning you can do on your characters to make them perfect for any situation. It's got a big competitive element, and it's got an extremely heavy execution requirement from a player's skill. POV, we'll demo this a little bit. I am rusty though, so forgive me. But I'll demo the idea of it in a little bit when we get into it. But yeah, if you like Genshin, but you feel like the combat's not deep enough, Honkai might be a game you might enjoy actually. Or if you enjoy Genshin and you're like, man, I kind of wish it was more anime and there are no boy characters, there's all girls, then Honkai might be the game for you. Honkai also has really, really, really high production value. Uh, I'll show you some of like the cinematics they do for this game, but this
何を
game
考えているんですか？
basically has animation
早く指
quality
示を
of
くだ
say
さい。
like a Fate series anime in a lot of its cutscenes. It's just a really well put together game. So I'm gonna start in a bit of a weird spot. Also, Stiggy is sitting in my lap, so it's easier to just start here. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the gacha and the thing you're collecting, because I think a lot of people who are looking at this channel are people who play gacha games, and a big part of gacha games is what you're chasing, what you're collecting. And in Honkai, you're collecting Valkyries. So these are all Valkyries, and these are characters you roll for. They have equipment and stuff you roll for as well. Some are farmable, some are not. Some are event gated, some are not. Get the general idea. You might be wondering, all these characters look the same or very similar. It's because a Valkyrie is basically the character Kiana and her battle suit. So this is Kiana in her Night Moonbeam battle suit. This is Kiana in her Divine Prayer battle suit. Uh, and the character I came back for, or the Valkyrie I came back for, was Kiana just got a new battlesuit,
こ
which
の
is
完璧じゃない物
for
語
sure
を
Flame Scion.
私たちの
A
望
lot
み
of
通り
these
に変えてみ
battlesuits
せる。
represent the character at different points in the story as well. So not without getting too far in spoilers, a certain character died that very dramatically a while back, and it's been haunting Kiana, and she inherited the character's weapon and became the Herrscher Flame Scion. That's kind of her character development, because Kiana was originally this
私の
the
力
Herrscher of
が
the
見たい
Void,
の。
so that's part of the character development. So if you're into that kind of story, then that's a compelling part to get behind getting these characters. And if you
この炎は
dislike
人が人
if
で
you
ある証。
dislike the constellation
永遠に燃え
mechanic,
続
where
ける。
how it is constellation mechanic from Genshin, then I kind of got bad news for you because there's something similar here. There's the S rank of the character, so it starts at just when you get an S rank battlesuit, they just start at S, and there's A rank battlesuits too, but S rank battlesuits tend to be the premium gacha ones. Start S, and you go S1, S2, S3, double S, SS1, SS2, SS3, triple S. And these unlock different things for the characters they go forward. I will say though, unlike Genshin, where some characters are, it's where Constellation can make a break for a character. In Honkai, the S rank of the character usually is not as impactful unless you're trying to get top like 100 scores in the world on like Memorial Arena or something. Because I think to remember is Honkai, unlike Genshin, has a competitive element where you are competing with other players. Therefore, like these differences do make a difference there. But unless you're going for like top in the world, you don't really need to worry about something like getting double S rank or triple S rank Herrscher Flame Scion, unless you just really love the character and want to get that for them. The only character, like, I've only bothered to do that for a few characters. Like, I have double S rank Herrscher Reason Bronya, and double S rank Herrscher Thunder May, Riding May, my favorite character. Oh, by the way, if you're playing Genshin, you might be like, wait, that character looks familiar. So if you have met the Raiden Shogun, Ball, in Genshin, and if you've heard people calling her May, this is why. Raiden May, Raiden Shogun, it's the same voice actress. They're both lightning themed. They're both edgy lesbians. They're both badasses that use katanas. It's the same character. Ball, the Raiden Shogun, is a crossover character from Honkai. So that's why she looks familiar. Like literally, it's meant to be a crossover character. Similarly, like you want further evidence if you've met in Genshin, if you've been in Inazuma, you met the priestess Yae. I think she's called Priestess Yae, but she's called something Yae in Genshin. That's Yae Sakura. That's this character. It's literally the same character crossing over, same voice actress, much the same stylings, and yeah, like it's the same character. And there's multiple versions of Yae here as well. Like this is Dark Belt Jonin Yae, and this is where was it? This is Memento Ray. So yeah, there's a lot of crossovers and further evidence. I don't know why I say evidence. It's not like this is a mystery or anything. You might recognize this character, the Prinzessin der Virtulang, Fischl. She is from Genshin, as you probably know if you play Genshin. So Fischl is a crossover the other way, and she has Oz. She has her bow, the Mitternacht's Vault. Like definitely, like the universes are converging. I would expect more and more where the universes converge. Similarly, like Bronya, as I mentioned before, I would be shocked if when we get to Snetsnaya, however you say that, and we meet the Tsarista, I'd be shocked if it wasn't Bronya. Because that place is fantasy Russia, right? And Bronya's name is Russian for armor. And the Tsarista is ice theme, Bronya is ice theme. You kind of see how the pieces are lining up, right? You see what they're doing. So that's where it's likely going. And then there's also crossovers like this is fucking this is Asta Langley from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Like they do a lot of cool crossovers. It's really fun. Then each of the characters has their weapons. There's a whole shit ton of weapons. Some are craftable, some are farmable, some are gacha only. Each character has a signature weapon. This is Domain of Sanction, which looks a lot like Mistcutter Reforged from Genshin, I gotta say. The hilt's a little bit different. But this is the Herrscher Thunder May's signature weapon. It works best on her, very much enhances her kit. Each character also has a set of stigmatas. There's a whole bunch of stigmatas. That we'll talk about this in a bit because this gets complicated. But these are essentially enchantments for a character that give them some kind of bonus, either just passively or if they do certain thing. And also similarly, all the characters that come out tend to have a set of stigmatas that are their signature stigmatas. Granted, there's also a lot of characters that use generic stigmatas that are very powerful, but there are many characters where their best in slot is their set stigmata. And Benares is Herrscher Thunder May's signature stigmata. So that's the basics of the collection element. I'm starting there just because I know this is the part a lot of people are curious about. Oh, there's one more thing. You collect these cute things. These are elves. These are basically supports that fly around with your character, and they will like do things like throw lightning or put ice on the character, that kind of thing. Oh, one more thing. Each when you in combat, you most often fight with a team of 3 characters. So you're familiar with Genshin. Genshin's 4 characters. This is 3 characters. So you're usually trying to build a team of characters that are synergistic with each other. That's not so different from Genshin. But yeah, that's basically the gacha. So Honkai has a shit ton of modes. I don't quite know where to start. I think the simplest place to start is going to be story, because that's where most people start. Honkai has many, many, many chapters. It's been running for a few years at this point, and the story is, I would say, very well told. It is much grittier than Genshin, if using that as like a point of comparison. Like, characters go through the ringer. Like, they have conflict, they experience loss, characters die, characters like get maimed, characters overcome hardship, characters grow and become stronger and develop relationships, characters show genuine affection and love for each other. Like, it's a very intense anime story. Like, the characters show genuine character development through the many, many, many chapters of all of them. And I'm not saying Genshin doesn't exactly have that or will never have that, but it doesn't really have that yet. If you want deep character development, this is a great game for that. And part of that also is Genshin tends to do a thing where they make a bit of a story for every new character. Because Honkai, the new characters are just the same character, the same person, but in a different battle suit. There's a smaller cast of characters overall. There's like 7 or 8 characters that are recurring constantly, and the new gachas for them are their new battle suits. So you stick with a smaller cast of characters much longer, and I think the storytelling is much more effective in that way, because you see so much. Like, you see Kiana and Mei growing closer and closer, and you see kind of the role reversal as Kiana kind of starts off as Mei's protector, but Mei eventually flips the roles and becomes like a person that strikes out on her own to try and protect Kiana. Like, you see that kind of development because you stick with a cast of characters for so long. And if you like anime plotlines and visual novel style storytelling, you'll really like a lot of elements of this game, I think, because I'll just click through this real quick. This is an example of a very regular type of cutscene from one of the chapters, and this is Raven and Mei interacting. I'll read a little bit of it, but I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Get in. The two went to a sports car. Raven got in and took the driver's seat.
あなたの車。
This is your car.
そうに決まってるだろ。
Whose else might it be?
免許は持ってるの？
Got your driver's license.
本気か？私は傭兵だ。
Kidding me? I'm a mercenary.
車
Bring
の
me a
免許どころ
helicopter and I'll
か。
fly it for
飛
you.
行機の免
May took a moment to observe the car. It was parked in the shade. Sleek, shiny, expensive.
どうだ？
Any
感想を
comment?
聞かせて。もっと目立つ色の方が好きかと思ってた。実
I
は
thought you'd
赤
pick
が
a
好
color
きな
that
んだ
stood
が。
out more.
残念
I
なが
like
ら気
red,
に
but
入
I
った
couldn't
も
find
の
a
がな
model
く
that
てな。
looked good in red. She pointed at the back row.
それに子供たちをドライブ
I'd
に
like to
連れ
take
て
the
行く
kids
な
out
ら
for a spin. The
席
more
は
seats,
多い
the
方が
better.
いいだろ。結構綺麗ね。
It looks good.
さあ、乗
Hop
れ。
in. May hesitated and finally took a back seat. Dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot. Raven didn't start the car.
どうかしたの？
Something wrong.
あのな、雷
Hey,
電
what do
家
you
の
take
お
me
嬢
for,
様。
Miss Raiden? Your
私を運
chauffeur?
転しか後ろに座
Come
っ
to
た
the
ら
front
ち
row
ゃんと
already so we
話
can
せない
talk.
だろ。おう、ご
Oh,
めんなさい。
okay.
そう、それ
That's
でいい。
better. Now buckle up.
シートベルト。
Raven started the engine and began to roar like a wild beast. Okay, you get the idea.
さっきの
That's what
話の
a
続
lot
き
of
だけ
the
ど、
dialogues are like.
人
But
形
even
に
more
協
so than
力す
that,
る人
the
間がいる。
production value for their cutscenes.
シベリアには
Nuts.
砂浜がない。
Oh, and also some of the story
あるのは真っ白な
cutscenes also
雪だけ
play
だ。
out in the combat engines. You can walk around while
こ
they're
ういう
talking that
砂
kind of
浜
thing.
を一度も見たことがない。
This is Raven talking about like her
靴
missing
を脱いでみる
brother
か？
and like her past. Yeah, no anime storyline stuff. Let's look at a cutscene real quick. I'm messing the audio balance for this because I want to show you what the quality of some of the cutscenes look like. So hopefully this doesn't come off super scuffed, but I'll show the whole cutscene because this is literally the cutscene, the animation that got me in the game. Because I saw this in my YouTube Rex, I'm like, what is this game? And I watched it, I'm like, oh my god, I need to play this game. These characters are amazing. What is happening? I need to know more. So if you want no spoilers, you want to come in completely fresh, then maybe skip ahead a little bit. I'll make myself a little bit smaller so I don't cover the subtitles. Because this is from deeper in the story, and it is one of the turning points for Kiana and Mei. Kiana and Mei's character arcs, and the dynamic of the relationship is cool. But like this is the one that just sold me on this game. So I think like I'll show the whole thing. Hopefully the music in this doesn't demonetize the video, but who cares? Like, it's worth it. This video is amazing. Plus, I'll stick around. It'll be a reaction, therefore fine, right?
息も絶え絶えのくせに
私のこの拳で止める。私は絶対に諦めない。
キアナちゃんはいつもこう体がボロボロなのに無理やりに笑う。あなたは私をみんなを助けてくれた。なのに一人で全てを背負おうとする。自分の命をも犠牲にして。
メイ先輩、それは私の使命だから。
世界を救いたいなんてそんなの分かってる。
メイ先輩、
どう耐えればいいっていうの。
メイ先輩、ダメ。
私にとってこの世界なんかよりもキアナちゃんの方がずっと大事よ。あの日あなたは私に手を差し伸べてくれた。その手を掴んだ時から私の運命は変わった。あなたは私の人生の中で一番大事な人。もしあなたを助けることが罪ならその罪は私が背負う。さようならキアナちゃん。
Was that not an amazing cutscene? Like the quality of that, I want to see that anime. I want Mihoyo to make this an anime because the animation quality there is so clean. Like the visual storytelling is just so well choreographed. Like there's a lot of little moments where like Kiana tries to throw Mei and Mei shifts her weight so she can't be thrown, or where Kiana like blocks Mei's kick and grabs her leg and then tries to like to elbow strike her knee to break her knee, but Mei sees it coming and twists out of the way at the last second. And a lot of the attacks they're using are actually attacks that their characters have, their Valkyries have in the game. And then, like, let's just say what we're thinking. Man, that's some gay ass shit. Like, that is super gay. I'm so into their relationship. And, like, it's gone through so much because this is definitely one of the major turning points of their character development. And, like, yeah, there's just little touches. Like, when Mei catches Kiana, she's falling. And she's kind of got that harsh look in her eye, but it softens as she remembers like their time together, and just little touches like that are just so well done, and I love that song. And man, when May says that nothing else in the world matters to her besides Kiana, and like goes like giant mecha shogun samurai sword draw form and starts flying, it's like anime intensifies. Sorry, I'm being a nerd and I don't care. Like that's the cutscene that got me into the game. If saving you is a sin, I would gladly become a sinner. Things that I want a lightning woman of a katana to say to me. Anyway, we've talked extensively about the story at this point, and that's for a reason. I think there's two reasons why you would be interested in Honkai Third Impact. Honkai Impact Third, I always mix it up. One is the story. It's such a heavy focus. It's got such high production value. Genuinely, it is a well-told story that takes a lot of interesting turns, and the characters have interesting character development. The other side, which we really haven't talked about, is the combat. So let's get into that. What is the combat like? Because it is the other unique draw of Honkai. So there's an absolute shit ton of modes. I'm trying to think what is going to be the best mode for showing off just really basic combat. Let's go with Universal Mirage. We'll talk about a bunch of the modes, so don't worry. But we'll start with Universal Mirage, Roaring Palace, Floor 6. There is a co-op mode and like raids and stuff for folks that want to like play with other players as well. But we'll do this one alone. So fight alone. And fights are going to be 3 Valks. So you build a team of 3 Valkyries. You want them to be very synergistic with each other. Your leader Valk, in this case Herrscher Thunder Mei, will give the team a bonus. And each Valk brings their own gear, so their weapon, their stigmatas. And Mei is basically going to be like the main DPS here. Azure Imperia Fuwa will be like kind of an elemental debuffer. And then Molotov Cherry Roselia will be our another debuffer to further increase our damage. And I'll talk more about what they actually do as we get further into it, but just we'll jump in and you'll see what combat's like. This is not going to be a hard fight, but it'll give you an idea of what the general combat looks like. So I'm going to start with Fuwa to try and suck all these guys together, and then debuff them as well. Then get Molotov Cherry out to debuff them with that, then drop that on them for Mei, and that should basically kill them. So Big Dragon's going to come out. We're going to try and use Fuwa's ultimate on them to debuff them. Molotov Cherry's going to come in, hit him, and debuff again. Then the Sanction's special skill, then summon Mei's Wyvern form, and then we're just going to breathe fire on it until it's dead. That's kind of what the combat plays like. Characters buffing each other, hitting things, kind of setting each other up in that way. And that gives you a general idea of the starting point. It can be more or less complex than that, the more or less you devote yourself to really mastering the mechanics of the game. And there's a significant delta in terms of how you will perform if you are good at execution in this game and really understand how to set up a team and use your characters with good timing. And I think a way to show that is actually Sim Battle. So I joined on a random armada. I don't know these people. I need to find another armada or join my old armada now that I'm starting to play again. But armadas have these sim battles, and everyone's score will add to the total reward. So you want to score pretty high on these fights. And we'll just jump in and do Helmaru. So sim battles are an interesting thing because you can do this trial battlesuit thing and it will just give you a team to use. And it's pretty much the ideal team. If you have better versions, then you can bring your own versions. The one they give you is like an S rank Bronya, a Hersher Reason Bronya. But I have a double S rank, so I would bring my own. But let's just jump in and I'll show you kind of, if you just kind of button mash, what it looks like, and then if you do it right, what it looks like. So I'll use the trial battlesuits for this to just keep the baseline consistent. And this first time I'm going to go through the sim battle as if I were someone who doesn't really understand like the complexity of the game, but does have some good characters, does know how to use them generally, and will kind of just smash their way through the fight. So let's take a Lightning Empress as our support, and so this is the one where, you know, I like Smash Brothers, I like hidden things, I like mashing buttons. Bronya is an ice motorcycle, can turn into an ice motorcycle. This is a firewall, so you know, drill it. We'll go shoot some rockets at it. Pew 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 pew. Oh right, she's got this thing called a Key of Reason. Can hit it with that thing, right? That hits the boss for a bunch, yeah. And then like, you know, I'm gonna like keep on beating it up. And like, I'll shoot some more rockets and drill it. And oh man, I'm gonna turn into a motorcycle. Right on. And then I'm gonna hit him with my motorcycle wheels. There, we killed it. That's about, what, 22 seconds or so? That seems pretty fast, right? Alright, so now if you do know what you're doing, it looks a little bit different. Okay, we're gonna do this again. Same team, trial team, but we're gonna do it with a better understanding of how characters interact with each other. So we're gonna start with Fuha. I'll pre-charge her elemental debuff. One. She comes up, hit it with that. Bronya, Key of Reason, start charging the attack immediately to build up the rocket sack, and while it's frozen, hit it with all the rockets, and that should be it. About 10 seconds. Yeah, better, right? We were what, 22 seconds before? Cut by more than half with better execution. That's what you're trying to chase. And then further still, I guess we can do it one more time. I'll use my own Valks. Same Valks, but slightly better equipped, better S rank on them. And we'll do the same thing. Start with Fuha again. Charge up her elemental debuff as soon as this thing shows up. Debuff it, Molotov Cherry, Bronya. Then immediately start rocketing it. 4 seconds. You're chasing every split second. Every possible gain to try and get that fight cleaner and cleaner and cleaner in order to get higher and higher and higher in the ranks. And if you're into that chase, that like optimization at every step, then you might enjoy this game. You might really enjoy this game. Let's see how high that got us, because I'm curious. This is a rando crew I joined, and yep, that puts me at #1 in the crew rankings, the Armada rankings. So nice, nice, nice. That gives you an idea of the refinement process and the execution side of this game. So we're going to really see all that execution, all that skill pay off is a place like Memorial Arena. Now, to be fair, it's going to be a combination of whaling and skill that gets you to the top of Memorial Arena. It's going to be hard to get by purely on like good equipment and whaling. It's going to be hard to get by purely on play skill. You need kind of a combination of both. And where Memorial Arena is it's basically a scored time attack. And the rankings here are against the whole server. And it's a global server, so yeah, these are global rankings, essentially. And there's 3 bosses, and you want to get the highest score possible. You want to kill the boss as fast as possible. There's 5 difficulties for each of the bosses, but it's only the last one that really matters. And if you don't like how you scored, you can try again and refine it again and again and again until you get a score you're happy with. And the faster you kill it, the higher score you're going to get. The sum total of all the boss's scores is your overall ranking. And this is the global ranking. So this player is the best player in Arena this week. Like, this is the global ranking, so that's very impressive. Also from Lumina, which is no surprise, because Lumina usually tops this chart. But let's look a little bit more at this. So the thing that's interesting is, we'll look at them. They're #1. In order to get this high, you're going to need a combination of play skill. So this player is likely extremely good at the game. Extremely good. Because remember, everyone's just constantly chasing every refinement to further perfect their kills of these bosses. But she's also using really good stuff, like triple S Lightning Empress, triple S Blood Rose, triple S Hersher Flame Sign, who literally just came out. These stigmatas and weapons are likely the absolute optimal ones for this fight. It's a 4-star Siren, like all really good stuff. But in addition to all of that, a thing to keep in mind is when you use anything in Memorial Arena, it's locked to that fight for this week. So because they use these Valks, they can't use them in any other fight. And if we jump over to Deathly Doom, they're number 2 rank here, but they're actually the same score, so they're actually tied for number 1. They have to use different Valks and equipment here. So they're using Night Moonbeam, Celestial Hymn, Hersher Sentience here, different Stigmatas, and then Tesla Zero is their elf. They likely have multiple copies of some of these stigmatas because that's a thing. Like I have, I think 7 of this particular stigmata, Newton Bottom, because we'll talk about it in a second. That's one of the super meta ones. And then we look Hersher Rhymestar. They are number 1, and they are running Hersher Thunder, Sakuno Rondo, Fallen Rosemary, and Bella, and these stigmatas and weapons. So remember, it's locked. So you kind of need a big roster, and you need to be good at pretty much every Valk in the roster in order to really execute here. And I'm also going to say, if it intimidates you, the idea that you'd be competing against somebody that's likely a turbo whale that is like probably one of the best players in the world of the game, you don't need to try and shoot for top 100 Memorial Arena. That's legitimately a very difficult thing to do. When I was playing a lot, usually just shoot for like top 2%. Like I think that's where you top 2% in the world is like enough to get like everything I wanted to get. But you don't really need to shoot for top 100. That's pretty aspirational. But if you really want to aspire to be like the best player, you have that option. Like that's definitely part of the gameplay, and something like Genshin kind of lacks, the lack of competitive element. In fact, forgive a slight tangent. An issue of Genshin is people tend to get in these really weird arguments about why certain characters are actually good, or like why this thing is actually the best way to do it. Honkai is very much put your money where your fucking mouth is, because like if the thing is the best, then this player would be running it, because you need to do the best things here. There's no secret meta. The meta is what is top of Memorial Arena. Like the process of getting here is kind of the crucible by which builds and techniques are just honed and honed and honed. And if you like that, if you like an environment where people put their money where their mouth is and actually really prove out their skill, their strategy, and like how the characters work, this is the game for you, because like there's no room for just idle like theorizing about why something is actually the best. If it's the best, it's going to show up in these places. And then the other place where you would see some competitive play is Super String Dimension, or Abyss, as it was called in the past. And you're competing to try and get in the top slots here. If you do, you'll get trophies, which bring you higher and higher into the rankings. I'm actually like near the bottom rankings because I have not played in quite a while. But you go all the way up to Nirvana, and Nirvana ranking is brutal. Like when I was playing Nirvana, it's like, man, this is a lot of effort to stay in Nirvana. But yeah, you can compete to try and get up and higher in the rankings. You get better rewards the higher and higher rankings you are. And the easier rankings are not that hard at all. But basically, the idea here is there's different set of challenges for every cycle. And you can use whatever Valks you want. Let me activate Divine Keys, which are a buff. So I'll just activate for 3 hours since I'm doing this. Not going to talk too much about that because you don't need to know about that if you're just looking at the preview. If you don't know what you're doing at all, you can look at something like the recommended Valks and just use the quick lineup, and it'll give you something that's pretty close to what is going to work well for this. I actually don't have the stigmatas they recommend for Sakuno Rondo, apparently. And yeah, I missed these two. So we'll use just Molotov Cherry here instead. We're in the one lower bracket, so I'm gonna basically fold this thing in half. It's not gonna be a big deal anyway. So actually, while we're here, let's talk a little bit about what's going on mechanically when I do things like swap a character in, hit the enemy, swap another character in, what's going on. I think people generally understand that I'm applying debuffs and buffs by doing that, but what exactly is happening? What is the execution window we're talking about? We'll just look at Roselia here. This is Molotov Cherry Roselia, and she's using these Stigmatas. Stigmatas, remember, as I talked about early on, are enchantments that you put on the character, essentially. There's a top, medium, bottom. This just refers to where on the character's back it goes, because it's this little tattoo. See, it's a little tattoo there. And this is Newton Bottom, Newton Bot. She's called that because it's Isaac Newton Bottom. And I think I mentioned I have like 7 of her. Yeah, I have 7 of her fully upgraded. The reason why is because, like I said, for Memorial Arena, this locks to the fight. So you might conceivably need 7 of them if you use them in every fight on several characters. One of my friends actually has like 9 of them. That's probably too many. But, you know, if you got 7, you might as well for 9, I guess. But what's going on for what she do? So Stigmatas all have a skill, which is the part we care about on Newtonbot, but they also have a set bonus, which maybe we'll talk about in a second, if you equip multiple Stigmatas from the same set, because they all come in sets. There's a Newton top, Newton mid, Newton bot, but like really people just care about Newton bot. So attacks on the enemy initiates challenge mode that lasts 5 seconds. During challenge mode, attacks gain 41% total damage multiplier, but hits taken also gain 31% total damage multiplier. We don't care about the second part. This is not a game that you play defensively at all. So 41% extra damage. So you kind of get the idea here. If you've got 2 support characters from Newton Bottom, and then you got a main DPS, what you do is you start with 1 support, you have them start by hitting the enemy, that starts challenge mode for 5 seconds. You switch to the next support in, they hit the enemy, that puts another stack challenge mode in, because they stack, and then you switch to your main DPS, and then you fold the boss in half, because you've got so much damage stack that way. But the thing to keep in mind is the execution window is tight, because the second you hit the enemy with the first character, the clock's ticking because this only lasts 5 seconds, and the second Newton bot doesn't refresh it. So the second you hit that enemy, you've got 5 seconds, and the time it takes to switch the second character and then hit the enemy is eating away at this timer. And by the time you get the third character in your main DPS to really burst the enemy, you've got about 3 seconds left on the Newton bot effect, the challenge mode effect, if you are being pretty precise with your timing. So that's why I was being so focused on trying to get a huge burst from Hersher Reason from Bronya. Bronya's battlesuit is Hersher Reason. To focus so much on bursting of her the second she comes out, because I'm trying to get all that damage into the window where challenge mode is activated. And that's kind of an idea of the precision we're talking about here. But in addition to that, everything on Roselia here is kind of built around that support role to enhance the DPS of the main DPS. Because this is the May Beach Party mid, the host gains 18% total damage. Enemies attacked by hosts take 15% more total damage for 4 seconds. This is even shorter than Newton bot, so you probably want Roselia in the middle of the rotation, which is how I use her, because again, you've got 5 seconds from the first Newton bot, so you want this to apply second because it's less time. And again, still, this is a bit of an interesting one. Teresa Gluttony, which I wasn't really using in those fights. But team has longer pickup range. This is a lot of text, but basically, when you hit the thing enough times, a piece of candy will drop that gives the team 16% extra damage if someone picks up the piece of candy. Picking up a second piece of candy boosts it to 24% extra damage. So all about extra damage, but that's not it, because she's using Blood Dance. All the weapons have a special skill. On controller, it's usually your square button that is extra skill, along with sometimes passive effects. But the skill on Blood Dance is create a blood tornado that sweeps enemies away, dealing 9 by 35% attack damage, blah, 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 blah. Sending them into Blood Rage, doubling their attack speed, but making them take 60% more elemental damage last 9 seconds. So you get the idea now. Fuwa has a bunch. I'm not going to talk about what Fuwa does because, honestly, this is a preview. So this is a preview of what you might expect from Honkai. It's not a deep dive into strategy. But Fuwa elemental debuffs them. Roselia comes out, hits them with Blood Dance to further elemental debuff them, to further start stacking Newton bot, to further stack May Beach Party. Then like Hersher Thunder comes out, uses all her bursts and folds the thing in half. That's the idea of this. You know, I don't actually know what Herrscher Flame Scion does. This might get a little awkward. Because I literally don't know what she does. Someone in my Armada was saying that she is execution heavy. And I believe them, and no reason not to. So we're just going to mash our way through this. See what her cool attack effects are. Which can totally weird. What? That was dope. I don't know what she does, but what she does looks cool. Maybe I'll use a different character for this, because I honestly do not know. But it's not gonna matter, because like this early on we can just mash our way through it and look cool. How many actions out there? What are you doing? Like I said, I don't know. I'm looking cool. I'm looking like an absolute badass. That's what I'm doing. My friend Ford watches this game. What's even happening? I don't know. She's cutting the whole universe in half is what's happening. Yeah, we've abandoned all attempts to set up synergies because, like, it's just natural. That's fine. Like I said, I'm the lowest, like, one of the lower brackets of this, so, like, this is not good. I don't know. She's killing everybody, though. It's so awesome. Yeah, if you just want to geek out over, like, how cool the animations and attacks are, then, like, you absolutely can. Like, you don't need to perform a high precision level to enjoy the game. It's just a thing that you can chase if you do want to get to that level. Man, she is badass, though. Anyways, I'm not going to go through the rest of this. This is going to be fairly simple to get through the whole thing. Yeah, let's talk about some other stuff. So yes, we are going to go ahead and do co-op mode, because there is a co-op mode. And people actually joined. Interesting. Need this person to ready the fuck up. I do not know if Herrscher Flame Scion is going to be the right choice for here, but we'll just flex our Herrscher Flame Scion, I guess, because we just got her. Excuse me, Tanimal. Can you ready the fuck up? I'm about to kick your ass if you do not ready the fuck up. I'm very impatient. I'm going to give them 10 seconds. You've got 10 seconds, or you're outie. I'm gonna kick you. You're about to get kicked. Goodbye. There we go. Somebody else. I need you to ready up. You saw what I did that other person. Don't think I won't do it. I won't fucking hesitate. There we go. It helps if you yell at them. They can't hear you. But yes, there's co-op mode. This shouldn't be hard. None of the co-op mode's hard. Everyone's gonna fucking super dominate at this point. But yeah, there's co-op mode, which can be pretty compelling. If you play with your Armada, then you can also do co-op mode. No, this is actually the wrong route to use. It's fine. I don't actually think it's gonna matter much. Yeah, I have no clue what Kiana does, but she's fucking killing them. That's really what we care about. But yeah, if you want to play other people, you totally can in this game. And I would say this game has more incentive to play other people than Genshin does. Because there's some of the stuff you have to control. Next area. Where's the beacon? Oh, here we go. It's been a while since I've done this. It's just the same thing. There it is. Here, I'll get the far one. You can hold down that. And then I'll hit that button and she'll dash back to me. Co-op mode can be fun to flex scale. I think that's few of them just carries in these modes. Yeah, apparently Kiana was not the right one because there's each of them, the Valks has a type, so Bio, Psychic, Mech, and they're strong against other types. Apparently Kiana is weak against the ones in this level, but honestly, doing so much damage doesn't seem to really matter that much. but not ideal likely.
審判の時は来た。喧嘩準備。
I'm just kidding about this. I'll be perfectly frank with you. I have no idea what I'm doing for him. But there you go. We got
み
MVP.
んなが一緒に戦った結果だ
Clearly
よ。
that was skill carrying. But yeah, there's co-op. If you want to play co-op, you can totally do co-op. You get a vote. Alright. So I could talk about different modes in Honkai all day, because there's also like an open world mode, there's various material farms to do, there's various things to unlock more story for the individual Valks, there's events, there's just infinite modes. But I really do want to talk about this new one that just came out, Elysian Realm, because this is a real interesting one. This is basically a roguelike. It's really cool. It just came out, so I don't know that much about it. But you can unlock different Valks to play as, and then it's essentially a roguelike. It's randomly generated levels that get progressively harder, and at the end of every level, you can pick a buff for your Valkyrie. Here, I'll just jump through it real quick. So we'll use this setup. And you do have to unlock the ability. So you have to unlock the ability to use a certain Valkyrie. So right now I only have Hersher Thunder May unlocked, but she is one of my stronger ones, so that's totally fine. And then you don't bring a full team, you just bring the Valk, their equipment, and a single support, and you have to unlock supports, and there's signets that you can get that increase your buffs, and you can bring an elf as usual. Here, we'll just jump through it real quick. I guess we just unlocked the dangerous sequence. We'll jump into this. Sure, this should be fine. I have no idea how hard this goes. We'll do a couple floors, so you can see what the progression is like. But you're just going to be using a single Valk. Oh, there's stories. I'm actually very busy, but for you, I'm always available. Well, thank you, Alicia. So you can pick a bunch of different buffs. If you play a roguelike, you know how this works. So let's see here. In burst mode, Bombard costs 200% Hersher charge and hits harder. So that's Blessing of Divine Penalty. There's Blessing of Hazy Moon. Basic attack sequences unlock 3 bolts of lightning. Thundering Sanction, each dealing 90% lightning damage. That seems fine. Finishers unleash 8 bolts of Thundering Sanction, each dealing 90%. I think I'll take, that's Blessing of Narukami. I'll take Blessing of Hazy Moon. So my combo will throw out lightning. And then we'll pick a floor to go to. So this is Sakura's floor, and her buffs are going to be based on ultimate evasions, and this is fucking Kevin's floor. Kevin annoys me, because, like, everyone's got cool names, like, you know, Sakura or Fuha, and this is fucking Kevin. He's also, like, the only dude in the setting that's still alive for some reason, so, like, yeah, not a fan of Kevin. But we'll go to Sakura's floor. Because we like to ultimate evade as me. Okay, so if you do our combo, yep, it shoots out lightning. Nice. And we can use the support to black hole them because it's Bronya. And that floor's no problem. Early floors are pretty simple. So-called Setsuna is a miracle that only happens between life and death. So edgy, so anime. Hang on. Stiggy, do you want up? Stiggy wants up. Stiggy, come here. Stiggy, come here. Mommy's recording a video. Stiggy, come here. Stiggy, come up here. Okay, don't come up here. Oh, this cat. Okay, so, let's see. Powerful Blessing Ume. Triggering Ultimate Evasion boosts attack speed and move speed by 40%. Bountiful Blessing Koyo. Triggering Ultimate Evasion boosts total damage taken by all enemies by 30%. Bountiful Blessing Ayame. Triggering Ultimate Evasion restores 12 SP. Stiggy, can you please sit down? Thank you. I think I'll take Koyo, because it'll boost our damage when we Ultimate Evade. And Ultimate Evasion is when you evade at the last possible second and you slow time, basically. So our options are Signet of... or Signet of Deliverance. So this is Alicia, and this is Kevin, so we'll take Alicia. Getting 3 of the same signets from the same character give you their special signet, which is a further buff. If you want to try an ultimate one, you kind of don't ultimate, but you get a bonus for it, you know? It's nice. Yep. And, you know, if you're less into, like, the whole team swapping, setting things up, this is probably a good mode for you, because it really focuses on playing one character at a time. You fight in such a glorious way, like flower petals raining down from the sky. Hee hee, I'd like to add to your splendor. Wink. Alicia loves flirting with May. I say May because in the story it's May that's actually in this area, like canonically, and she's the other Valks are her using the memory system, Alicia, to use the skills of other Valks. Let's see here. We have Blessing of Tsukuyomi. Tap attack after evasion to connect into a basic attack sequence 4. Basic attack sequence, or tap attack after evasion to connect into basic attack sequence 4. So the final hit in a combo. And then basic attack sequence 4 boosts total damage by 40%. That seems good. Blessing of Mitama, max Hersher charge doubles and entering burst mode fully restores it in burst mode. 75% Hersher charge is restored per second. Base attack sequence 5, so 5th in the combo restores 100% Hersher charge. Hersher charge is something that the Hershers get, so Hersher Thunder, May, Hersher Reason, Bronya, Hersher Void Kiana, or Hersher Flame Sign, also Kiana, or Hersher of Sentience Fuhua. So this one's going to be really good, Blessing Mitama for May, because May's Wyvern form, you'd just be able to stay in it for a very long time like this. I think I'll go with this one, and Blessing Nurkami we saw previously. So yeah, this one seems like a good choice. Can we get another? So Signa of Vicissitude is Fuhua and Cabin. So we'll go with Vicissitude. Okay, what do you got for me? And Bronya, so support summons can suck everything together, position them a little bit better with Keeper Home. That's what, like, OG Valkyrie Chariot Bronya does as well. He's one of the, I think he's vulnerable, but, like, he's a very useful character for that exact skill as well. And yeah, if you die, then I believe, like, you can't die. You die, then it picks you up. Roguelike, you know. We're clearing these floors pretty smoothly.
あなたに協力できることは限られていますが、最善を尽くします。それが私の唯一の使命ですから。
Can't help you much, but I'll do everything I can. That's my only mission now. I like this costume for her. She looks so, like, tactical. So, Signets of Vicissitude. Long trip. Total damage taken increased by 1% per second, 40 stacks max. That seems good. Or total damage outgoing, rather than taken. Old Dreams again, Elemental Breach increases by 0.6% per second, 40 stacks. Taking damage reduces stacks. Loss of pound, total damage taken decreases by 0.8. I think we'll take the long trip one. Time challenge successful. Oh, I get another signet. So you clear the time challenge, you do it fast enough, you get another one. So I kind of want to get the Elemental Breach one, Old Dreams again. Now, what are our options? Oh, this will give a chance to show this. This is the shop, Phyllis's shop. And here you can, like, restore health, but I haven't taken any damage, I don't need to. Or you can upgrade signets or buy new signets. And you get currency by just doing the floors, doing well on the floors. So I want to change, you can change your sigil or your support valk also, but I'm not going to. I think I want none of these. I want to upgrade my signets. I want to upgrade Long Trip, the one that upgrades total damage. There we go. And we'll keep going. Yeah, I really like this mode. I'm gonna keep doing it, but I think I'll go to the first boss, because I could do this for a while before we get to the end of the run. Actually, I should summon one together first. So, normally, if you see that pink bar right above my health bar, or orange bar that turns pink, that's Maria's character charge, and normally you can only get one of that, but one of those signets gets us 2 bars. So it lets me do, like, double sword draw attacks for her. Lets me do, here, I'll do it. Lets me do back-to-back those things, which hit quite hard. Show that guy. Show that guy who's boss. It's us. We're boss. We're boss.
これはもともとあなたの力です。把握するのに時間が必要なだけ。武術の名人も基本から鍛えるものです。
You just need some time to master it. Even expert fighters keep training the basics. That is true. Let's see. I guess we will take Dark Garb no more, which increases our elemental damage. I have obtained 3 signets from the same flame chaser and unlocked a Nexus signet. What is hers? Vivid Vicissitude. Valkyrie obtains 1 stack of soldiers resolve every 10 seconds. 6 stacks maximum. When taking damage, soldiers resolve loses 1 stack to neutralize the damage and deal adaptive damage equal to the number of remaining stacks times 650% attack damage to surrounding enemies. So we build basically a stacking buff that acts as a shield, and when we trigger it, when we get hit, it neutralizes the attack and then nukes everything nearby. That seems pretty good. Alright, pull all these guys with Bronya. Oh my god, donkey, you piece of shit. Pretty tanky. I noticed that I am the wrong elemental type, or I'm the wrong Valk type, because I have a damage down on all these guys. I'm curious, can you run the right Valk type, or do I assume like if I ran a different Valk type, I would get a bonus here. So maybe I should use a Pressure Thunder for this part of it. I don't know. I forgot the triangle. I forgot what's actually good against these guys. It's not like we're struggling. And see, I can, like, normally you can't just stay breathing lightning, but because of that signet, I can. That signet that gives her more of that super power. You have perfect vision. Try to see things we wouldn't normally have noticed. That's right. I guess we'll take the one that prevents damage. And then we'll also take initial attack of Valkyrie Resolve, being fancy. Seems good. Oh man, we're gonna get all of Fuhua's signets. That's fine. That's a build option, I guess. Oh, this is the boss one. Okay, so I'll do this last one I'll do for now, and then talk about what? No, but Neris, you picked the wrong person to fuck with. Picked the wrong person to fuck with. It's weird playing just one bout as opposed to whole team. You know, normally it's pretty complicated, setup, swapping, timing. It's a little bit simple, play just one, but you know, it's fine. I was not just step on the blue stuff. Ah, it hurt. To be honest, I'm kind of used to just folding Benares in half. You're about to have a bad time because I can just fire breath, lightning breath you pretty much all the way. Okay. This signet's fucking broken on her Sure Thunder. Are you kidding me? You fucking kidding me? You fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, what the that is nuts under her Sure Thunder. You just sit up there like that. Goodbye. Nice knowing you. It's been real, it's been good, but it ain't been real good. Get the fuck out of here, Benares. Alright, well, that's as far as we'll go for now. Put your mind at ease. Don't let things that happen in Elysian Realm affect you. Oh, do I get another signet? I'm getting all Fuwas. Fallen Flowers. Every stack, the Soldier Resolve gains 1 bonus stack per second to all the buffs provided by normal signets of vicissitude. That seems pretty spicy. Alright, let's start recording here, and I'll finish it out, and then we'll talk on the other side. I finished that Elysian Realm mode up to floor 16 just now, and I gotta say, Elysian Realm just came out. It is the most fun I've had in Honkai in quite some time. I really enjoyed that roguelike mode. That's really fun. The cute stuff you're looking at right now are the dorms for the Valks. You can build little dorms for them that they live in, and you can decorate them. If that's your jam, that's the thing as well. What else is there to talk about? There's always a shit ton of events going on that have a ton of rewards and whatnot. So there's lots of incentive to come back pretty frequently. There's dailies and whatnot. Oh, there's actually this kind of this. I found this particularly interesting. I'm not sure if this is everyone's jam. Can we start the quiz? There's a weekly quiz that asks you stuff like here's so yeah, that asks you stuff about the different Valkyries and the Stigmatas and whatnot. So like Drive Comata is one of the best supports for Stygian Nymph. How does Drive Comata trigger Stygian Nymph's quick time event skill? And it's by inflicting crippling field with uncharged basic attacks. So like, the game really leans into understanding the nuances of characters with stuff like this, which I really appreciate. In addition to the gacha stuff, there's also a ton of craftable stuff. I'm not gonna get super into this because there's so much stuff, but there's a whole bunch of craftable weapons. A bunch of these are crafted from gacha weapons. Some of them aren't. Some of them are just craftable through farming. But a lot of these are craftable from gacha, and some of these pry arms are essentially the ultimate form of a signature weapon. Some of these are also required. Whoop, that's no button. Some of these are also required because they're a divine key, and these divine keys, which are specific weapons fully upgraded, give a boost to your whole team through this gene limit thing that you unlock. There's so many systems here. I'm not going to get too far into them because we were talking about forever. Though I will mention Stigmatas. There's craftable Stigmatas as well. Some of these are very, very good. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, if you're really into trying to get like the absolute best thing for everybody, and you really want to lean into trying to get like perfect everything, Stigmatas have affixes. These are random. So let me find a Stigmata that's not actually rolled the way I want it. What do you have? Okay, so yeah, these are random ass Stigmatas, right? Because these affixes are on a Stigmata that I'm using with Kiana. Kiana uses pistols. This affix is for greatsword, so this doesn't actually benefit Kiana. So I could try and re-roll this here. I'll just do it right now, real quick. Sure. And this is ice damage, which is not really what I want either. So I could re-roll again. And like, if you're into this kind of thing, you know what? We'll just keep the affixes. If you're into that kind of thing, like you're into like just trying to tweak and tweak and tweak until you get the perfect version, then yeah, no, you might be into this kind of system. And then the last thing to talk about is one of the things I appreciate is Honkai's been out for what is it, 3 years now, 4 years, 3 years? I don't actually know how long. In a while. These are all the Valks. What is that? 30, 40? Oh, I'm missing Sarcasm Nyx. I want Sarcasm Nyx. Oh, you can't see there. I'm missing Sarcasm Nyx because I wasn't playing when her banner was around. We'll get her eventually when she comes back around. Anyways, there's like about 40 Valks. I want to say 15 of them are still relevant in some way or another. And that's a high number. Like 15 of them, I would say, are relevant enough that they would be the meta choice for a particular fight, is the way I should put it. And that's kind of unusual. Usually, if you're talking meta, there's like, in a roster that size, there's probably like 6 to 8 characters. The reason why that's the case is because of stuff like Memorial Arena, because these bosses rotate. So right now, let's look at this. For this boss, the ideal team is Herrscher, Sentience, Celestial Hymn, Night Moonbeam. Next week, the boss in the slot, the ideal team might be like Sarcasm Nyx as like your main damage or something. Or like maybe Herrscher Thunder's here, or Herrscher Flame Scion's the one that's right here. And then the different fights rotate again the next week, so different characters are right for different fights because a lot of the characters have a specific thing that they bring that makes them uniquely suited for a specific fight. Like, I think one of the things is Herrscher Rhymestar, there's this knockback thing it does, and people have been bringing Sakuno Rondo because Salvation of Sakura, her signature weapon, drops this giant cross on the floor, and that giant cross is effectively a wall that you can brace yourself against to prevent yourself from being knocked back. So like she's actually very well suited to this fight. So like that's the kind of thing. Like characters are able to be relevant because the content's almost rotating, and certain characters are just best at certain things. Same thing with Super String Dimension, Abyss, whatever. There's going to be certain fights where different characters are ideal. So like for this week, I'm using what's recommended here. So Hersher Flame Scion here, Sakuno Rondo, and Ezra Empuria Fuwa. And then this one's like what's this? Sarcasm Nyx. Need Sarcasm Nyx. Fuwa, and Azura Empuria Fuwa, and I think that's Cyber Haxer Bunny whatever Branya are the ideal ones. Now, this will rotate next week, and different characters will be ideal. There's don't get me wrong, there's definitely certain characters that have just completely fallen out of relevance, but because there's so many different challenges that different characters are better aligned with, more characters stay meta for a very long time. Granted, this might be a frustration to you if you're not a person that has a lot of the characters, because if you want to have the meta choice, you're going to want to have access to pretty much all the characters. So that there's a push and shove there. But if you're a person that likes to collect characters, then you're gonna have a lot of characters that are still relevant down the road. Which honestly, I can't say of many gacha games. There's a bunch of gacha games where like a character that's relevant today is completely outclassed the next day. That's not as much the case here, which is a nice thing, I gotta say. I appreciate that from Honkai versus a lot of other games. So one more important thing to talk about, actually, and it's going to be a real big one since it's a gacha game, and a lot of you are coming from other gacha games, and you have a lot of questions here. What's the gacha like? What are the rates like? Uh, it's an interesting contrast to Genshin if you're coming from that, because the rates compared to Genshin, how do I actually pull them up? So yeah, there's different banners and whatnot, and the rates are going to be 1.5% chance of pulling an SSR and S rank. That's roughly a little bit more than double the rate of SSR 5-star in Genshin's case. But the pulls here are more expensive. So you get less pulls for, say, a same relative amount of currency if you convert the currency to, like, I don't know, whatever, like, money you're using. So that's interesting. You're going to have to do less pulls overall to get the thing you want, but they're going to be more expensive pulls. And someone in the Armada Discord that I'm in said that they're roughly the same rate overall if you just break down like the rolls versus costs. So yeah, you're gonna have a higher chance of pulling something per pull than Genshin, but overall, because they cost more, it's roughly similar. So that's something to think about. Overall, the gacha here, I will say, feels kind of brutal compared to other gacha games if you're trying to get everything for a character. And what I mean by that is you're coming from Grand Blue. Usually when you're just trying to go for a character or like a summon, and in those cases you just need one copy, right? If you're coming from Genshin, you just need the character. Maybe you need more copies for Constellation, but that same thing exists here too. And maybe you go for the weapon. The thing that makes the gacha a little bit brutal here is you want the character, and then usually you want their stigmatas. So there's 3 stigmatas that are for each character when they come out, and then also their signature weapon. Usually, not the case for every single character, but most characters that's gonna be the case. So you're trying to get the Valk, and then you're trying to hit one thing you're targeting, but you're also trying to hit 4 more things you're targeting to get the full set. Do you need the full set for everyone? No. Like, there's alternatives you could use for Hersher Flame Scion, for Kiana, that we find. Because, like, there's other Stigmatas you could use on Hersher Flame Scion for Kiana that would be pretty effective. But I think someone was saying in one of my Discords, the alternate set for her is, like, probably a 10 to 15 to 20% damage loss over this set. So this is still ideal. Is that going to matter if you're not trying to top Memorial Arena or like clear really fast on something like Abyss. Probably not. It's probably not that big a deal. But if you want like to absolutely max out the character, uh, other than S rank, because S rank's a whole nother story, then yeah, it's going to be a little bit more random. Because there's a guarantee. I think it's like, what is it? Like every 50 pulls, you're guaranteed to get one of these. Um, and if you happen to get the wrong one enough times, you can trade two of the wrong ones for the right one with this wishing well thing. So there's some ways around it, but in general, just because you're trying to hit like basically 5 targets, the battle suit, there's 3 stigmatas, and then their weapon, that ends up being a little bit rougher. That said, a thing that I particularly appreciate about this is Valkyries tend to, on average, stay relevant longer than, say, characters in other games. Here, I'll show you that in a second. But in addition to that, there's also like there's occasionally an outfit gotcha. Um, there's a random chance to get this outfit. Here, we'll do a pull real quick for 400 crystals. Let's see, we get it. It's a very low chance to pull that. Nope. So how this works is the more times you pull, the more expensive the pulls get, but you're guaranteed to get it after you do the full thing. It's quite a lot of crystals to get that, but I don't know. I don't know if I really want that outfit. Maybe I'll go for it. We'll see. And then, in addition to the character and their weapon, and this banner for Kiana, since Kiana is one of the main characters, and Hershers are always super exciting for everybody, because Hershers, like I said, the intro, if you play Genshin, they're basically archons, or like the strongest characters in the universe, in the game's story, in the universe. But this banner additionally has an elf that comes with it. So you have to get this thing too. So there's a lot of things to get if you want everything. And these are limited banners. There's also a non-limited pool, and there's some good stuff in here, like Hersher Reason Straight, Stygian Nymph Straight, Artemis is also great. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to pull for, so keep that in mind. Okay, the last thing to talk about actually is I mentioned that the gacha pulls are more expensive, but they're higher rate. There's a few things you can do to try and mitigate that also. There's always these bundles that are coming out. There's new bundles like every couple weeks or so. These can be a better way to approach the gacha if you're not free to play, because these are a better value, I find. But I think a question a lot of people are going to be thinking is, how is the game if you are free to play? And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm not free to play, so I can't give you a great perspective there. Like, I don't want to lie to you. But I'll just mention that folks in my Armada that are free to play that I've seen talk about this, the general impression I get from them is if you know a character is coming, like in a couple months, and you start saving for them now, you can likely save enough resources that you're pretty likely to be able to get that character when they come out. Where it becomes dicey is if you want to get the character and their weapon and all their stigmatas. That's a little tricky to do reliably as a free to play unless you start saving a very long time in advance. So that's not my firsthand experience because I can't speak to that. But that's what other folks I've talked to have said. If you are free to play and you play Honkai, let me know. I'm kind of curious what your perspective is on this, like genuinely, because like I said, I don't want to tell people that it's terrible or it's great because I don't have firsthand experience there. I'd love folks. I'd love to just hear your perspective on it. So conclusions. Do I think you should play Honkai Impact 3rd? Yes. I'll add a caveat. I love this game. I think this is a really great game. It does some things that are really, to me, unique within the genre of gacha games. Granted, I haven't played every single gacha game, so there's probably some other games like this. But like for me, it's really unique in that it is exceptionally high in production value. And it's got a really engaging story with characters that you really care about. And I think a lot of that is, like I said, there's like 40 Valks here, but it's only about 8 characters, because that's Kiana, that's May, that's also May. Where's another May? That's May, right? Like, there's different battle suits, but it's all the same characters, right? And because there's only 8 characters, it really allows them to focus on telling the story of like Kiana and May's relationship, or how Kiana deals with the death of another character that I'm not going to spoil. Like it's very interesting. Like there's a story of how Fuwa is immortal and all the times that she's died and like all the betrayal she's gone through and why that has really shaped who she is and who she's been in different ages of the story, that kind of thing. It's really fascinating. They really go into some in-depth storytelling because it's a smaller cast of characters. And I think Genshin by comparison really suffers because like they don't focus on a smaller cast of characters. But in addition to that, the really big draw for a lot of people is the combat. The combat's excellent. Like even if you approach it just as a button masher, it's still really fun. Like I played briefly with her sure Flame Scion, and I have no fucking clue how she works, but man, I'm just hitting buttons, and she's like galaxy smashing the whole stage, and it's like, this seems super dope. Things are dying, I guess. I'm probably not being very efficient, but like, it's fun. But then there's also the element that if you are really into the execution side, and you do really learn timing and how to animation cancel and how to perfect every little bit, you're rewarded for it. This is a game that is genuinely competitive and rewarding of high skill. That's something I really can't say of Genshin. I know I'm comparing Genshin a lot to Honkai, but they're both MiHoYo properties, and they're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. I really wish Genshin had some of the competitive elements that really push people put their money where their mouth is in terms of like what is actually a good build, what is actually an effective way to play, what is an effective setup. Because Honkai, like there's so many avenues that really push people to try and get every ounce of performance out of their resources, but also out of their ability to play the game, that like you really see the best versions of things emerge organically, which I think is really cool. So yeah, that's basically it. If you like super in-depth, well-told, high production value anime stories about a large cast of badass women, then that's one reason to play this game. If you're into like an action RPG style combat that really rewards high execution, high ability to actually play the game, and you like competitive environments where your skill is rewarded, your ability to execute is rewarded, then that's another reason to play a game. And the other reason is if you're just like really stylish looking combat, and even you don't really want to learn all the nuances and just want to mash your way through and see like cool anime girls with katanas doing cool anime girl things and just killing everybody, then that's another reason to play it. So like if any of those things speak to you, you should check it out. I mean, it's a gacha game. It's free to play. You can just download and see if you like it. I will say if you try and play it on your phone, be a little bit careful because like it is a pretty intense game and might melt your phone, similar to Genshin if your phone's just not super modern. Just a thing to keep in mind. Yeah, I could talk more about Honkai, but this has been an overview of why I think Honkai is a pretty cool game, why you might like it. If you do decide to pick it up, let me know. Maybe we can be friends or something. But yeah, that's been it for this. I will try to do more of these videos. I've kind of enjoyed having a chance to talk about some stuff besides, say, Grand Blue or Genshin. So maybe I'll cover some other games. If you've got a game that you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. Caveat, I probably will only cover it if it's something I actually play, but I play a lot of gacha games, like I play Fate Grand Order, Arknights, etc., etc., etc. We've talked about this before. But if you want to know more about that, I'd totally do that as well. Anyways, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!